All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Pigeonhole Motorcycle Podcast. We are on here in New York with Evan Favaro. Speakeasy Motors. How are you today, Evan?
How are you, man? What's going on?
I'm living the dream over here, baby.
Nice. Likewise, likewise.
You look like it. All right, so
Trying.
let's do this. I'm sure people, if you tuned in to listen to this episode, you at least know who Evan is. And why don't you tell us, first of all, Evan, just a little bit about yourself, about how you got into this crazy mess here.
Well, my name's Evan Favaro, 30 years old. I like long walks on the beach.
Mm.
No.
Movies
Um,
about gladiators.
yeah, yeah. Uh, Geez, how did I get into this business? When I was like a teenager, just like every other kid. I'm 30, so when I was a teen, 15 years ago, whatever. That's when all like Build Off and American Chopper came out and all those TV shows and all that. I've never been a dude to like want to watch TV. But that got me into it. But I wanted to just like I don't watch sports or nothing is why watch it when you can do it. So the same thing kind of happened with me with those motorcycle and hot rod builders, builder shows like that.
Yeah.
Um, so when I was in high school, I was 17. I got a job at a local motorcycle shop. It was a custom shop. I worked there for like 4 years, and then when I was 21, and I was like, fuck this. I don't want to work for anybody. Um, I started my own shop. So I started Speakeasy Motors when I was 21. I was in the basement of a gas station.
Oh shit.
Super low ceilings, really dark, and I built some cool shit out of there, man. Uh, and then just one day at a time, man. I just kept working, kept working. I was kind of a workaholic. I still am. I started full time the day after high school and haven't stopped since. Um,
Wow.
I never went to college. I just got some training with Faye Butler, metal shaping. Um, Faye Butler taught Jesse James, and he did a bunch of these world renowned metal shapers trained with him. And luckily, he's only about like 3-ish hours from me up in Massachusetts. So I took a couple seminars with him, and then actually wound up teaching with him seminars at local high schools,
Oh,
stuff
cool.
like that. Yeah, yeah, super cool. Really humbling, awesome, super mind blowing. Like so much science, like in such a short amount of time. But it really kind of gave me like an accelerated program and just a whole different outlook on it. It's like I don't bang on metal or any of this for the appearance of it. I do it because I want to understand the science of how to shape metal the way I want it to work, or how to build a frame but have the proper geometry and engineer it properly where your welds won't fail, and how to properly weld and different, all that science and all that
Right.
bullshit behind it that is often um, in an almost ego-based driven industry, which everyone can admit, is often overlooked. A lot of people don't understand the science of it. That's kind of like what I want to help or show, I guess, or showcase what I can do at least.
Right. So how do you?
Uh,
Wait, you said you signed up to go see a seminar with Faye, and then how do you get that relationship to get to actually go and teach with them?
um, we just spent a lot of time together, man. We just kind of hit it off and became friends, and instead of just me being one of his like just students, I became a friend of his, and our relationship just got a little closer than just him teaching me and then I leave, whatever.
Right.
We talk regularly, and we just kind of built a really cool relationship. And he asked me to kind of jump on board with him. He's a really particular guy. Anybody that's dealt with him knows that. Um,
Hmm.
so it was a pretty awesome experience. And I still talk to him all the time. He was just at my wedding, and I talk to him all the time. So yeah, it's
That's
pretty
right.
cool.
Yeah, you just got married recently. When did you get married?
Yeah, last July, so we're coming up on 1 year. Yeah,
Nice. Hey,
yeah.
that first year, you make it through that first year, brother. You're good.
Uh, we're only a month away. Everything's great. Yeah,
That's
she's
good.
super supportive of the craziness of this industry, and also like the long hours. I'm lucky enough where my shop's on my property. I got 10.5 acres here, and I'm able to just kind of stay in the shop and work all day, and she's cool with it.
Yeah, it takes a special lady to marry somebody in an industry like yours with the
Yeah,
passion you have to put into it.
sure. And we've been together. almost 10 years, so it's not like a new thing that everyone's like, no, that'll wear off. It's like, nah, it's been 10 years. She knows, you know?
Right. Okay, so
Yeah.
I read,
So,
going back further than like when you started Speakeasy, I read all this crazy shit about you, like, I forget, like building crazy motorcycles by hand when you were super young.
yeah. Yeah. I started little, like mini choppers when I was like 14 and stuff. And yeah. That was all
Nice.
just stepping stones. And then
Right.
I got hired by Orange County Choppers when I was 23. So
Oh,
I worked
I
there.
did.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. So I worked there for 5 years, 5.5 years. Um, so I was actually casted for the TV show. And it was funny. It's like I lived like an hour from OCC when
Right.
I was in Jersey because I originally started in Jersey, and I had to fly instead of driving an hour north. I had to fly to North Hollywood to interview for a job an hour away from where I live. So there was like 1,200 contestants, and it was all narrowed down. And for some crazy reason, they picked me, and then I worked there for 5.5 years. So I started my first day there. Started with a camera in my face, filming, and
Wow.
built a lot of crazy motorcycles in years there. Yeah.
Wow. That must have been a pretty
Everything
cool.
from yeah, it was an amazing experience. It was definitely a roller coaster. Definitely the accelerated program. For a 23-year-old kid at first. Now all of a sudden, I'm building $150,000 theme bikes and like one after the next and after the next after the next. I was building. I don't know, man. At the peak, it was probably four full, maybe three bikes a month or something like ridiculous, like some ridiculous numbers.
Wow.
Like 3 to 5. It was all over the place, depending if they were production runs or full custom builds. Custom builds obviously took longer, but
Right.
uh,
And okay, so your experience at OCC and with Faye, like this, that you had some serious education outside. I mean, you probably knew exactly what you wanted to do starting your own business.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, I don't know. I just totally immersed myself in it, you know, and it was great. The whole thing was all super positive, and the whole TV experience was really interesting to say the least.
Hmm.
Um, that has its pros and cons, of course. But overall, it was all a really amazing experience. I was 25 and I bike for Shaquille O'Neal. And by me, I mean the team. Obviously, it wasn't just me; it was a whole team effort. But
Right.
yeah,
Well,
it
that's
was
cool.
super cool. Yeah, Prince's in Dubai and you name it, man. All sorts of companies and Sonic fast food, and I can go on and on and on. The list goes on. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome. How big was the bike for Shaq? I was just starting to think like how to get Shaq on a motorcycle.
Oh my God. So we we built that frame. Rick Petco and I built the frame, and it had so much stretch. It was crazy. We had to totally modify our frame fixture because it wouldn't fit in the fixture.
Oh,
Um, the dude has a size 26 shoe or something, and we had a pair of his shoes there to like get all our controls right. We actually layered up, custom machined some rocker boxes instead of like an Evo rocker boxes, whatever the 3 layers. This we like stacked in a big midsection just to like fill that void because from the top of the motor to the bottom of the gas tank was so out of proportion. We had to make it look proportionate, if you will.
right.
Um, it was a soft tail, but we had to add extra airbags to hold all the weight. It was wild, man. That gas tank, I built the gas tank for it, and that gas tank had to have been almost 4 feet long, like totally ridiculous. Yeah,
That's fun. Well, those are good. Those are
great.
great experiences. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're happy to be doing stuff on your own. But what a great ride that must have been.
for sure. Yeah, I've always had Speakeasy Motors open, even when I was full time at OCC. Um, so I would drive back and forth from Jersey to New York every day, and work there in the morning till the afternoon, and then come home, run Speakeasy at night, and just do it again and again. Then I
Wow,
finally moved up here.
that's cool. So
So I'm
where?
about 15 minutes from there.
All right. So, Speakeasy. Where does the name come from?
I'm just into that era. You know, that 20s, 30s prohibition. I'm really into that, just whether it's board trackers or, as you can see behind me, hot rods. You know, my personal car is actually, it's not this one, but it's the same exact body style. It's a 30 Model A coupe. Um, I'm just
That's
into that time period of history. I thought was extremely monumental in engineering and design. You know,
mhm.
so many innovations in what we see today are all developed back then. Um, Prohibition and all that stuff, and just hot rodding. You know, NASCAR started from hot rodding, from running moonshine, from the prohibition. It all comes together. You know, so you go from running liquor turns into NASCAR if you follow the progression of time. It's just
Right.
because of prohibition. You know, it's really
That
really informative. You know.
So what's your obviously I've looked at your Instagram and you have a lot of just kick ass cars and shit on there. So what's the percentage of like cars that you obviously that era you like to work on those cars? Do you have a lot of them?
In the shop right now, I have one, two, three, four, 5 cars in the shop. I have 3 cars out, 4 cars outside. Um, a shitload of bikes. Yeah. Um, it's super eclectic too. You know, it's like I'm. This is a Model A here. I'm building for the Race of Gentlemen down on Wildwood, the beach races.
Yeah.
Over here is another Model A sedan that I chop. That's gonna be more of like a newer, modern hot rod with a big block in it. This thing here, you can see like the red headlight and the big tires. That's a 1,000 horsepower, 1,050 horsepower Pro Charged LS7 International Scout that I'm building. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like
Wow.
it's a monster.
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
practical. Very practical car.
yeah, yeah, totally. It's like sure, yeah, I'll build that. Why not? And then behind me is a '54 Ford panel truck that's in for just some modern upgrades. Um,
Nice.
and then the other room, the other shop attached to this is a 1934 Hupmobile, a Model I. So Hupmobile they made from like I think 1909 or so to the 40s, early 40s, right before the war. But that car that I'm restoring is there's less than 10 of them left in the world. So it's a really, really monumental car. So
Wow.
definitely
So
honored to have an opportunity to work on that.
yeah, so obviously the people with these cars that you're working on, how do they find you? Just word of mouth? How,
Yeah, it's all word of mouth, all word
yeah.
of mouth. And yeah,
It just
I
seems
built
like a very
myself a Model A. Yeah,
you drive that around, you
um,
get enough attention.
yeah, for sure. And I still do a lot of bikes. You know, a lot of bikes. I'm building. I have everything from a panhead chopper in here to a supercharged 200 horsepower modern chopper for one of Paul Jr.'s clients, right? And then right here next to me, you can't see, is a just a really cool, simple little Sportster bobber. Really
Wow.
all over the place, man. You know, yeah. I don't. I've never said that I've had like one particular style. You know,
Right.
so
So with your bikes, have you personally had your bikes brought to a bunch of shows?
yeah, yeah. So oh geez, yeah. I just actually picked up my bike from the Motorcyclepedia Museum. It was there for like 2.5 years, which was really awesome. That
Wow.
was really cool. Yeah, I was really humbled when they asked me to like they wanted it in the museum, and I was like, yeah, that's amazing. Like really, me, you know? So that was super cool. My other bike I sold. I built that for the Hot Bike Tour back in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you look back on my Instagram, you'll see it's the tankless bike where the back fender is the gas tank. Um, and the oil tank, typically oil tank is a second gas tank, and then the oil runs through the frame. Then there's a piggyback oil tank and cantilever suspension and all sorts of really oddball stuff. But I sold that bike to Pink, the singer. So
No
that was cool.
shit.
You know?
That's real. That, so
Yeah,
you're getting.
yeah.
Okay, so how did she see the bike?
I was over at their house and building a bike for Indian with her husband Carrie Hart's a good buddy of mine. We
Okay.
met at um, the Hot Bike Tour.
Cool.
Ironically enough, I was riding that bike. And we just became friends. And then a couple years go by, we're in Daytona bullshitting and just bar talk. He needed some help building an Indian for Indian motorcycles for corporate. Um, so we took a Springfield and chopped it all up. It was called a King Killer. Um, so he asked myself and Jake from Barnstorm Cycles, Sacha Kraus from Kraus, to come out there and build a bike with him. So he flew us out there. First, we actually flew to Vegas, right? We partied in
Okay.
Vegas for a bunch of nights, and that was like, I mean, if you've been to Vegas, you know it's wild.
Right.
Um, and then it was awesome. We go to the dealership, and Jake and I get two brand new Indians, and Big B, Carrie, Jake and I rode like, and our buddy Sky, who's like a photographer, rode 450 miles from Vegas to their house in Southern California in a day. And that Indian chieftain, man, it was just like riding a couch the whole way through the desert. Unbelievable bike.
That's fun.
Yeah, so we stayed at their house for it was like about a week or so, um, and then we were just bullshitting, getting wine drunk, and she's like looking on my website, and she stopped. She's like looking through the bikes and cars that I built. She stops on the picture of my bike in front of Bear Butte in Sturgis, that big mountain in Sturgis,
Yeah.
and she's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh, that's my bike." And she's like, "I want it," and I was like, "You can have it." That's exactly how it went down. Nothing more, nothing less.
That's great,
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
You know, through doing all these podcasts, it's really funny because I always like to see like um, building motorcycles, building custom things, and where it brings you in your life, and the people you get to meet, or the places you get to travel. Like, it's amazing.
wild, man. And a lot of it happens over a beer, like just sitting there bullshitting.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Well,
crazy.
speaking of speakeasy and speaking of liquor, um, let's talk whiskey.
Yeah,
So wait,
yeah.
so you don't have enough to do with the cars and bikes, so you have like a distillery there, or what's the story?
So I work with a local distillery, and I've had this idea in the back of my mind for years, man. Um, just about branching off and just a play on words, speakeasy. Everyone thinks speakeasy, you think liquor and whiskey and stuff like that, right? So that's when I started the Speakeasy Motors American Whiskey Company last year, 2019, is when I finally like brought it to fruition. We had a bunch of meetings and just talking and talking and talking, and then I finally put my money where my mouth was and teamed up with a local distillery, um, who is like legally is like the license holder of the whiskey, but it's like our brand. So I'm building like the brand and the lifestyle and all that. And soon enough, maybe next year, in the next year or two, I'm gonna start putting a building up on my property, and that is gonna be the actual like our actual distillery. Instead of using a distillery now to distill our product, then it comes to us and we blend it and then
Hmm.
bottle it. So all that stuff is done by us. But I'm going to have that all on my property. So I want to build my distillery and my shop on my land across the street because I got plenty of land over there. So it'll be like kind of a destination for people where it's like, I'm thinking maybe like a horseshoe shape, right? And one side is a showroom where you see the hot rods and motorcycles.
Yeah.
On the right is the distillery and the tasting room, and you could buy helmets and apparel and moto apparel and stuff like that. But then behind all of that is like the actual shop, you know, because my shop now is on my property and I've outgrown it forever ago. I put this addition on 3 years ago. It's already way too full. So,
That's crazy.
it's crazy.
No, I okay. So how do you learn how to like when you say yeah you blend it and everything? So do you have to study that stuff or a passion of yours that you learned on your own? Like how do you figure
Well,
out the whiskey business?
that was part of teaming up with his name's Gable from the Gardner Liquid Mercantile, right? Um, he's the one that I teamed up with. We just kind of hit it off. He's got a bar down the road, but it's a craft bar, like craft distillery bar.
Okay.
And it was just again just bar talk where I told him my kind of my vision and my passion behind it and how the lifestyle all kind of lines up together. And
Mm-hmm.
He really just loved the idea and really wanted to work with me. He said a bunch of people have approached him in the past, but nobody's ever been had as much together. You know what I mean? Like the thing is with the liquor with the spirit industry is what sells it is like a story behind it. You can make a great whiskey, but if it's just a whiskey and there's nothing more to it, you kind of like, sizzle off. But like, if you could look at my bottle and be like, wow, that's cool. There's a Model A on it. What's Speakeasy Motors? And if you look on the back, there's a website and it's like, oh, wow, that's some dudes that build hot rods. Like, there's more to it than just handcrafted whiskey, you know?
Right.
So, but each bottle is hand labeled. We handwrite each label, and it's really labor intensive, but so is building a motorcycle and a car.
That's true, and it makes it something special. It's seriously handcrafted.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so
We touch every single bottle.
is your drink of choice whiskey? And if you're not watching this, he just held up a can of Miller Lite, but that's okay too. Hey, I have a testimonial for your whiskey. So my good friend, me and him were talking about you today, and he's an avid vodka drinker, like myself, but he's like, yeah, his whiskey, and it's fucking good. and for Mr. Rod Smith to say that your whiskey is good, from a vodka drinker. That's a pretty good compliment.
It really, I'm not saying it because of my own whiskey, but it is. It's smooth. It's really easy to drink. I even got like my mom has never drank whiskey in her life, right? And she's like addicted to the stuff now. It's just a really easy drinking whiskey. It's a rye whiskey. It's a New York rye, so it's all from New York grains, New York water, New York everything. We call it like kind of consider it like a bourbon drinker's rye. So it's got like the sweetness of bourbon, but it's got the spicy after finish of a rye. It's just a really nice balanced whiskey, and yeah. And we're coming out with a bourbon next year, and I have some maple whiskey aging right now that we're gonna release in the fall. So we're growing it. Yeah,
That's awesome.
so
I want to stop by the tourist destination when you have all this done. It sounds like that would be awesome.
yeah, for sure, for sure. For something for like so like for this, it's a lot of work to balance all the car builds and all that. I needed help in the whiskey industry, so I brought on my buddy Mark and Steve, and they helped me out. They're co-owners on the whiskey side. Um,
Okay.
Steve is the money side of it, the emails, the legal end, all like the bullshit, like the taxes and the actual business side of it. Because when in the liquor industry, there's so much red tape. You know, Mark is the kind of the science end of it, doing like a lot of the blending and the bottling and stuff like that. So all like the actual science behind the whiskey, and then my part, I'm like I'm the pretty face. So like I
Right.
gotta I got to, keep the bikes going, keep the cars going, to keep the lifestyle behind the whiskey
Sure.
thriving. So
Wow.
it's definitely a team effort when it comes to that, for sure.
That sounds amazing. You know what I think you should do is since you're not busy at all, you should probably start another kind of business. Like what
Well,
do you like what would be your other business you'd start?
if I had like any other ideas, I would probably get into luxury, exotic, and classic auto transportation across the
Hmm.
country. Yeah,
Interesting you say that. So
yeah.
are you seriously going to do that?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm having a this beautiful custom trailer built right now,
Okay.
fully enclosed. I'm talking like carpeted walls, rubber floors. The side swings out for really low cars. Um, Cabinets in it, LED track lighting and mood lighting and air conditioning, and it's like a half a camper, half a luxury car trailer.
Hmm.
It's going to be all lettered, so it'll be a brand builder. I'm going to do events with it for the whiskey company and for motors um, when it's not being used to transport cars. Um, I have a buddy of mine who drives it like a 10-car hauler for a living,
Hmm.
and because of the whole COVID thing, he's been unemployed recently. So he's looking for just some side work. So I was like, hey, I need a new trailer, but I need a driver. I have so much. I'm not driving across the country right now. I can't take that kind of time.
Okay.
So he's going to be my driver and use my trailer, and then we kind of just figure out split all that shit up and yeah, just a side business guy. Because the thing is, like, the trailer's not cheap. The trailer's a tool for me, but
Right.
it's a big investment. I can't justify spending all that money on it and not having it bring in some money.
Of course.
So that's how I'm justifying my cost on the trailer, you know,
Say you
because
could
I
pull.
mean,
You could get this trailer, pull up at a show, bring a Model A out, have the whiskey out there, have tunes jamming, and have like your everything ready to go.
yeah, for sure. And the trailer's got Bluetooth and everything with speakers built in. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I actually just saw a post on your Instagram asking anybody if they needed anything hauled from somewhere to somewhere. I thought I
Iowa.
saw that today.
Yeah.
Iowa.
Yep. So, yep. Iowa. We actually, Pat Jansen. Do you know Pat Jansen?
I
I
don't.
don't know if you. He's an MC. Most people. He does a lot of motorcycle events. Anyway, he tagged me in a post, but one of the guys from American Pickers from TV show bought a car about an hour from me, and they need it hauled out to their shop um, in Iowa. So,
Nice.
but the
Well,
thing
that's
is, I need
cool.
to justify the cost. I can't charge him there and back, of course. It's 1,000 miles, so I'm trying to fill the truck up with stuff to bring it back to help pay for the fuel and the driver fee.
Yeah, that's
You
not
know.
a cheap thing to do.
No,
All right. Okay. I got to go back to this because I was just imagining your luxury, what do we call it, luxury hauler, or
yeah,
transport. Okay.
yeah.
What do you think your ideal client is for that? Like, what kind of things do you foresee hauling?
Um, I'm gonna market it more towards um, like classic cars, but and a lot of like exotics. So like the dude with the Lamborghini or the Ferrari, really low needs like they want it enclosed for so like a lot of people up by me have a lot of like summer homes down in Florida and Miami, for example, one of my clients, right? They want their
Hmm.
stuff hauled down there, but you can't they don't want their $300,000 Ferrari Dino open on an open trailer, but they want it enclosed, but their cars are too low to the ground. You can't open the door in an enclosed trailer, so you got to climb out the window. Nobody wants that either. So you don't want to climb out the window of some dude's exotic car. So that's why I got it with like the whole side exit door where the fender well comes out and everything, and the walls are carpeted, and just very like custom tailored to that industry because I'm trying to go after the elite guys because they'll hopefully potentially like want to pay for that luxury, door to door, one car at a time, you know. They
All
want
right.
that custom tailored service, you
Yeah.
know.
Wow. That's why I've
So
never bought
eh,
my Lambo because I don't
yeah, yeah,
just the hauling of it is just so
that's it.
expensive.
And then of course I'm going to outfit it for motorcycles. So I'm going to do I want to do like, a Sturgis round trip. I bring it there and I bring it back. Daytona, Myrtle Beach, all like your big rallies and stuff. Fill it up with bikes,
Right.
do that as well. So
Wow. Well, I know
keep
there's a
it
lot of people that,
generating.
yeah, they everybody needs transportation though. So you figure you got all these guys going, and they all need to get their bikes there.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
And a lot of guys, they invest so much of their livelihoods into their toys. They want them, they'll spend an extra $100. This guy or this guy, well, he's $100 more. Yeah, but his walls are carpeted. It's like,
Exactly. And
yeah,
he's got whiskey and tunes too. So why not?
yeah. My bike gets air conditioning on its way to Florida.
As they should. As they
Yeah,
should, my friend. So
that's it.
let's talk about some of these rallies and stuff. What is your favorite? Like, if you get to go to a motorcycle event, what's your favorite one to go to,
Oh man.
or a couple of
You
them?
know, I would say like Daytona's always fun for the party.
Hmm.
I've always made the best like business moves in Daytona. Like that's how I like when Carrie asked me to build that Indian with him, and I've sold some bikes down there. I've actually like that's the best for business,
Hmm.
but the riding kind of sucks. It's Florida, it's flat and straight. You do the loop, and that's about it. 2 years ago was my first time out in Sturgis, and that was mind blowing to me. I've only been there once, um, but I was just talking about my buddy Pat, who lives out in Iowa, flew me out there, and we were going to drive from his place in Adel, Iowa, which is like right in the center of Iowa. We were just going to drive to Sturgis and just throw some bikes in the bed of the truck, because that's I was working with Cycle Source magazine, and like going on stage and building all like gas tanks and stuff. I would build gas tanks for the Grease and Gears garage. So I fly
Nice.
out to his house. I come there a day or two early, whatever. And the next morning, he's like, "Guess what? We're riding." I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, awesome." It's like 750 miles, and he threw me. I took his wife's bike, and he took this old piece of shit Victory, and we had to like get it running, and the battery's dead, and this is wrong with it, and the fork seals are blowing oil out of them, and it's like, "Oh, we're leaving it in the morning, huh?" You know, so. But yeah, it was fun. So that was the most fun rally, I would say, just for the riding. The riding out there was incredible. You
Oh
know,
my God! Once you get out there, so did Sturgis have? I thought their rally was just coming up, but there was something going on there just recently for
whereas
Sturgis.
Sturgis?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't. I'm not sure. I
yeah,
know
just
they
for
just said they're going to have it this year. That was a board meeting.
yeah,
So
yeah. I heard that it's on.
yeah, Sturgis is on. I don't. I'm curious what like the like differences are going to be. I'm sure they're going to have to do something like capacity wise for concerts and stuff. Um, I don't know, but it's on.
Yeah, no, it's good that it is. I'll really be
Yeah.
interested. I was reading some of the little things that they're going to do to help everybody out, for distancing and stuff. But I'm having a feeling it's going to just be business as usual.
Yeah, the motorcycle community is pretty lax on all that. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, they're riding motorcycles around, through the with the scenery out there and everything. That must be just the best place to ride.
yeah. I was riding that bike, the one that I sold to Pink. Right, I ride it. It doesn't have fenders, um, and I'm the only dude in South Dakota wearing a full face helmet. Right, and I had a day off, and I was like, I want to go ride to Mount Rushmore. It was about a 2 hour ride or something like that.
Hmm.
And I'm riding it, and it's hot as hell out, and I'm riding, and all of a sudden, just like the movies, I'm getting into the mountains, and the sky turns black, you hear the lightning and thunder, and all of a sudden, just hail and rain, and I'm drenched right down to my underwear, my boots soaked within like seconds, and luckily I
Oh,
had a helmet on because I could like somewhat see, so
right.
everyone's pulled over. I pull over because nobody can see if you're not wearing a mask, or a shield, you can't see. So I pull over and I'm like, well, this doesn't make any difference. And then it got so bad at one point, fuck, baseball sized hail coming down. I luckily found like a closed bar with a canopy, and we all ducked out under there. And
Wow.
I got to hung out there till the hail stopped. Got back on the bike. 2 miles down the road, clear as day. Didn't even rain. Right. I get to Mount Rushmore. I'm like a half hour from Mount Rushmore. I get to Mount Rushmore, and I remember sitting there on the ledge looking at Mount Rushmore, and there's all these tourist families from all over, and they're watching me just take my boots off and just like dumping the water out, and like where the hell did you come from?
Right,
That
because
was
it's
great.
beautiful there.
Yeah, it was
That's a cool.
unbelievable.
I didn't realize it was. I guess it is that close to each other, but that'd be a really cool ride.
Yeah, yeah, and the Badlands. We saw the Badlands on the way in. That was unbelievable, man.
Yeah,
It's like
and
it's like you're on Mars.
it's very true. It's very
Yeah.
Badlands is. I think they named them very well too, because it's just fucking badass there. It's just cool, cool
Hell
stuff.
yeah.
All
What
right,
was
let's.
what
Yeah.
was I was gonna say what was cool for me, like, and a lot of people in the industry can relate. Whereas, like, I'm like the shoemaker's kid. I don't ride motorcycles very often. So for Pat to like kind of like help me out there, and my buddy bringing my other custom bike out there was like a totally awesome experience for me to like actually sit on a motorcycle instead of just building them.
That that's it's funny because me and you share Craig as a friend, and I hang out with him all the time. I can't tell you the last time I saw him riding a motorcycle because he's in
It's
the
true.
shop 24 hours a day.
Yep. It's
It's like,
true.
yeah, and especially in Illinois, it sucks too. Well, your weather
Yeah.
is kind of on and off though, isn't it? Because you're in New York.
Yeah, it's on a, yeah, but I don't have like the lake effect like he does. Like I
Yeah.
was on a motorcycle today, and it was just like a Sportster 1200 just for a quick oil change, right? Just rip around the block, and I was like, whoa, wow, I haven't done this in a while. And I'm like, oh shit, I do this for a living, and I'm getting wowed by a Sportster 1200. Like, great bike, great little ripper. Nothing against Sportsters, but it was just like unbelievable, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said you build everything from. You have a wide array of stuff. What's your favorite bike to build? I know you said it seemed like even when you were young, you built a chopper as a really young kid.
Yeah. So I kind of got like Evo'd out. I built so many Evo motorcycles at OCC, right? Like, I mean, dude, I'm talking like in the 5 years, I'm not exaggerating. I must have built, again, this is not an exaggeration, 120 Evo choppers, right? That's a lot of fucking motorcycles, and they're all the same drivetrain for the most part. There's some differentials here and there, and some supercharged V rods and supercharged this and a couple turbo Hayabusas, but like 95% were Evo based, 84 to 99 Evo based choppers. That's kind of what got me like a little more full throttle into cars. Um, but I think like my all time favorite, and I've always been through and through with them, are just Honda CB750s and Yamaha XS 650s. Like, there's just
Mm-hmm.
something that will never get old about a single cam 750 and like just the XSs. I don't know. They're simple, they're cheap, and they make just cool little platforms.
Right.
So I built a
Yeah.
lot of those, but the thing is, from an industry standpoint, I try to like relate the two. What I like and running an actual business is
Right.
there's not much money in that side of it. Like, if you want to make money in the motorcycle industry, build cars. No. um,
I need a t-shirt. I need a t-shirt that says that.
yeah, it's the truth. But yeah, obviously American Harley based. That's how it generates some income.
Right.
They're simple to modify too. So
Wow. All right. So let's step back a little bit too, because uh, uh, you're a very well-rounded individual, my friend. It's kind of fun to
try.
see. So, inspiration-wise, like growing up, did Dad have motorcycles? How did you just go there yourself, and along the way, like who's been your biggest
Yeah,
motivation?
yeah. No, my dad never rode. My dad wasn't much of a mechanic at all. My brother wasn't. I kind of just started new gene. You know, my grandfather was an electrical engineer, so maybe that's where I got the engineering standpoint from. But I never met him. He passed before I was even born, so maybe that's where that genetic came from, or that gene. But no, I don't know. I just kind of, just again, just watching it on TV, and I was like, I like that kind of stuff. Let's try it. You know,
Right.
funny how that worked. I have no idea.
And it's funny how influential, I hear a lot of different people like those first biker build off shows, and a lot of that stuff influenced a lot of people. It really, really
100%.
lit some fires, man.
Absolutely, it did. I could wholeheartedly credit that to the boom in the industry for sure, for hundreds of other builders.
Right.
Everyone remembers like the mid 2000s. There was a chopper shop on every fucking corner. You know,
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of them aren't around anymore because of the economy. But I mean, between American Chopper, Biker Build Off, Motorcycle Mania, I mean, you name it, there was a dozen of those motorcycle shows back then.
Right.
Um, Hugely inspirational. Everyone can bag on OCC as much as they want, and I get it, but like, you can't tell me that didn't help the industry. Any professional industry is going to say, yeah, how many customers of them came in, hey, I saw OCC, I want my bike built now. It's like, hey, it's not
Exactly.
going to be like those, but I'll build you one, so
Sure. Yeah,
uh,
it's fun. It's fun because I'm a big fan of anything that brings the everything that brings the industry up is good. And
for
like you
sure.
said, people can say, naysayers all they want, but hey, if it gets even, you always need customers. So if somebody's watching that and they're all jazzed about it and they want somebody to build one, then life is good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Life is really
And
good.
hopefully it just keeps going, hopefully that cycle keeps going. And, I was always like the young gun in the industry. And I mean, I'm only 30, but still, the next generation, you
Sure.
know, 17, 18-year-old kids are in their shops right now, cranking out the next wave of hopeful custom builders.
I know. That is crazy. Hey, tell me more about the. I saw one thing that you were building gas tank on stage, maybe at the IMS. Is that where it was? And I also see.
Yeah, that was with the
Go ahead.
with Cycle Source magazine,
Okay.
the Grease and Gears Garage. Yeah, so I traveled around with them. They brought me out to Sturgis in New York City and all over, and I would build a like a Sportster based. Actually, I got one right here. Just like uh, just a Sportster based gas tank, you know. So I just
Right.
made these on stage. So just showing paper patterns and how to paper pattern, attempt a buck, and I made it on stage in a couple hours. Obviously not totally finished, but you
Right.
know.
Well, that's got to kind of be fun.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, and Pat Jansen, well, goes back. Pat was
Yeah.
usually the host of those,
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
then
Gotcha.
in New York City, at the end of the one is when I actually proposed to my wife on stage after I finished building the gas tank. So
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah, it was super cool.
Hey, you just tie everything into your life like that, right? That's
100%,
good.
man. Yeah.
now, now, does she ride?
No,
No.
no, no, no. She
It's
keeps
good.
asking me to get a two-up bike. She wants me to get a two-up bike. So
Yeah.
maybe, yeah,
Hey.
I'd like to get an Indian. The new Indians are just so superior. I know a lot of people are like, dude, really right now? But like, no, it's true. Go ride one.
Really?
They're awesome. You know, they
So,
really are.
so you don't? Do you have a daily driver motorcycle right now? You said you don't really get to ride.
Man. I don't. I swear, if somebody said, "Hey, you want to go for a ride?" I'd be like, "Cool, you got a bike I can borrow?" Um,
Now, if they want to drive a car around, then it's a different story.
yeah, yeah. I got my Model A, but I blew the motor up in that too, so it's whatever. Yeah.
Well, that's funny. Okay, so we were talking before, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go right here, really quick, just since we're on the subject. That Evan, once again, we have another guest who's admittedly that he's never listened to a podcast, which is okay. Which is okay. He doesn't watch TV either, so I'm not taking it
It's true.
completely personally. So, Evan, what we do when we get towards the end is, and I always find this exciting to find out who you would like to hear. Who would you see on a podcast that you go, oh shit, I got to listen to that one. I'd love to hear what this guy has to say. And and this helps drive the show in the direction of where the guests wanted to go. Other than I'm not playing favorites, I don't do anything. I take it where it leads. So, what do you think?
I would say, from a motorcycle standpoint, Jake Cutler from Barnstorm Cycles for sure, because I had the opportunity of working with him. I brought him in at OCC with me when I had a couple deadlines to meet, so I got to work with him hand by hand, side by side, and build a couple bikes with him. Then him and I flew out to Kerry Hart's place and built that Indian together. Um, Really influential dude in the industry. That dude is also really young. I think he's only like 32 or 33, not much older than I am, and has an amazing business that he and his father built. So he's
Cool.
made some serious waves at a young age, also um, in the industry
Wow.
for sure.
I don't know where all you young guys get all this time. Or you're moving fast to get 30 and doing all this stuff.
That's it, man. Yeah, and
Uh,
it's crazy to think that like usually every year I do a open house charity for Autism Speaks.
yeah.
Um, this year, because of the whole virus thing, we're not going to do it. But in the spring, I'm going to do an open house season kickoff. But it's also going to be my 10th year in business party, which is like crazy for me to think. It's like, holy shit, already?
Yeah.
It's like 10 fucking years? Are you serious?
And another blink of an eye, it'll be 20.
Yeah, nuts, man.
Well,
Crazy.
let me know. Let me know when the spring open house is, 'cause I'm coming.
For
I'm
sure,
coming.
man. It's a
Coming for whiskey.
That's it, man. We unveiled the whiskey at our last one. We have about 500-600 people, and we raised over $6,000 last year for Autism Speaks for charity. So
Wow. Well,
yeah,
that's
it's pretty
wonderful.
cool.
And please let me know if there's anything I can do to help get the word out to get some money in to support great causes like that. So whatever we
Cool.
can do, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So we have Jay. Who would be a second one that
Oh,
podcast would
right.
like to hear?
Um, I would say George Stinsman, Chaos Cycle, out of
Okay.
he's out of Mastic, Long Island. Um, he is probably one of the most underrated custom builders. Um, totally does not get the notoriety he deserves. Him and I have had so many discussions about it where it's like really no, like everyone walks right past this like unbelievable motorcycles, right? And he's
Right.
been he's been in the game for I don't know, like 25 years or so, somewhere around there. Um, Super cool dude. Him and I have driven back and forth to Florida, to Daytona. We spent a lot of time together. Daytona to Chicago a bunch of times. Him and I spent a lot of time together because we're both New York builders.
Right.
Um, Super
So
talented
George.
dude. Has an amazing shop. He's in Mastic, Long Island.
Cool.
Yeah.
George, Chaos Cycles. And another reason we do this, so anybody listening, make sure that give Evan's friends a follow here too, just to make sure if you see these guys on there, go check out what they're doing. That's another reason I
Yeah,
like
for
to
sure.
get these out.
There's
Um,
also, I mean, if I had to throw a third in there, I would
yeah,
say Nick from Forever Two Wheels in Maine. He's also another great builder. So
Forever Two Wheels. What is so? What kind of stuff does he build?
a lot of Vespas and no, I'm kidding. He does.
Right up my alley.
Yeah, yeah. He actually won the international motorcycle. He's the king of the builder a couple of years ago, and he's built a
Ooh,
lot of really amazing bikes. So
wow. Yeah,
and
that's
he's got this terrible Maine accent, and he's funny as shit. He's
nice.
funny as shit. Yeah, yeah.
So he's the king of the builders. So when I reach out to him, I can just call him the king.
Yeah, call him king of the builders. He'll hate you.
Awesome. That's a good way to. I like to start off on the right foot. Um, so
He was like the
have you?
cheesiest.
I have you won any awards like that? Have you? Are you the king of anything at any of these shows?
I won the national championship twice or three times or something, and then the New York City International Motorcycle Show. I won first place 7 times in New York City.
No
So
shit.
yeah,
Wow, that's
so,
awesome. I like how you
yeah,
say
in
everything
the
so
class, of course.
right. But you just say it so casually. That's what I love about you guys. Is like, if I, the better people do, I find the more humble they are, which is
That's for
which
sure, man.
which is very nice. And the good thing is with this show too that we haven't had any egomaniacs yet. I think everybody's out to impress
Thanks.
themselves, if that makes any sense.
I understand. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
And
besides
that's
you, nobody's been an
yeah. Thanks.
egomaniac.
That's good. That's good, man. That's why it's like this is a really small industry, and like any of like the shit talkers, they don't even exist. It's like they're not even part of it. So like everyone, all these other, I could suggest another 100 builders if you really wanted me to. Everyone
Right.
is really awesome in their own way. Everyone's super talented, has their own. Everyone, all our builders, we all have our own spot in this industry and our own specialty and our own kind of style, if you will, or
Yeah,
you know,
and it's really true, and especially I like you because you got the speakeasy, the whole kind of that part of history, and the
for sure.
whiskey and the cars. And all right, so here's a great question for you. Evan's 30 years old. You have the shop. You build your motorcycles. You have these kick-ass cars. You have the whiskey. We're getting the transport, the luxury transport for my Lambo. Um, what do you where do you go from there? Like, what do you think's gonna you gonna stick with this industry forever, or what do you see for yourself?
Uh, I want to build custom spaceships for Elon Musk, maybe. No, I'm kidding.
Sure,
Uh,
with carpeted walls.
yeah. Honestly, I don't want to go anywhere.
Good.
If anything, I'm just going to keep doing little branches of this is my core. Like hot rods and motorcycles is like my core industry, and that's just all I want to do is just bang on metal. Um, I I like the whiskey has its place, and the transport thing is like just side money.
Right.
But that has its thing of like, you're meeting wealthier clients. Most rich guys like a not really good whiskey and have a collection of cars that need to be restored or want to be restored. So they all kind of link together, even though they're different. They
Sure.
all kind of circle around the core, and that's me building hot rods and motorcycles.
Right.
You know,
So like as
and
long
just
as you get
building a lifestyle. You
right.
know, I want to have like some sort of like what I was talking about earlier, like that building out front, a destination for people to come in and see hot rods and bikes and drink whiskey, and there's a bar there, and you could buy a new helmet and moto gear there, and there's a retail shop there, and you can check out the shop and make kind of a destination, but it's still all based upon me in the shop working. You know?
Right. And it's nice as long as you can figure out ways to people keep paying you to do the stuff that you love. You know, you got it made,
Right.
and that's
Yeah,
the
for sure.
greatest
So
thing.
it's like I said earlier, building custom motorcycles like financially secure? No, no way. Like, so that's why I want these other ventures to like be a little more financially secure and build a better future for myself and my wife and future kids. And you know what I mean? Like, because building bikes is like, yeah, you can make, don't get me wrong, you can make good money doing it, but it's, anybody
It's
else in
far
the
and few
industry.
between. Yeah.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
one's came on the show and said how rich they are from building custom motorcycles.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Again,
uh,
that's why I like the cars better. They pay better, but so
mhm.
it keeps the passion fresh, and you
Sure.
know,
You know, I always talk about and think about like leaving. What's your legacy? Like, when you leave behind, you talk about like your future kids. Yeah, think about how cool that would be. Like, Dad, yeah, what does your dad do? Oh, he works at a bank. What does your dad do?
yeah,
He builds motorcycles, cars, does whiskey. Like, we have a
for
shop in
sure,
front of
man.
our house. Like, that's
That's
fucking
it.
cool. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. It's like that old saying, like I'm going into the grave, like fucking doing a burnout sideways. Like
Right.
it's gonna be
Exactly.
great. Yeah.
No, that is awesome. Well, hey man, we're gonna wrap up here, but I wanted to make sure to say, if anybody's not following Evan at Speakeasy, make sure to follow that at Speakeasy Motors. Now, is there an I should have even looked at this before. Is there an extra site, especially Instagram wise, to find the whiskey?
Yeah, so it's if you go on, you can go to Speakeasy Motors American Whiskey, right? And then let me just confirm the Instagram is Speakeasy Motors Whiskey Co.
Gotcha.
And that's our Instagram. So Speakeasy Motors Whiskey Co. is our Instagram for the whiskey page. And then
Nice.
Speakeasy Motors is my Instagram page. The websites are speakeasymotors.com, Facebook, Speakeasy Motors, and then the website for the whiskey is Speakeasy Motors American Liquors.
Nice. And I've been on both websites today, so I encourage everybody to hop on over there. There's some really cool stuff. Nice job. Did you build those yourself?
The websites?
Yeah.
No, that was my manager's wife. Is a
Nice.
kind of graphic designer, so she
I
helped out
was
greatly with all.
No, she did a great job. I was just trying to see if there's one more thing that you were doing that I didn't know about. Like you're a
No,
graphic
I'm
designer
not.
and
No, I'm not the most technical savvy guy. I'm not a very big computer guy. I have a CNC plasma cutter here that I recently bought, and that took a little learning curve for me because I'm not,
yeah,
I'm a hammer and grinder kind of dude.
right. Have you used it a lot yet?
I do. Yeah, now that I got the hang of it, I use it all the time. It's best investment ever.
That's cool.
Yeah,
It's nice to see like rounded, like doing all these things and being able to, you know, you can build anything you want.
for sure. Yep,
That's awesome.
absolutely. And that's the goal is to be as self-sufficient as possible.
Amen. Amen.
Um, and you're only ever as good as your tooling. So,
This is true. That's why people just
boom.
call me a tool and I don't use them. So,
That's right.
um,
There you go.
yeah. And Evan, you know, it's funny that since we haven't spoken, you haven't listened to the show before. You do realize I've never ridden a motorcycle, right?
All right, man. I
Never.
gotta go.
Hey, but I
Nice.
fake it. I
So,
fake it pretty well, though.
so then let me ask you, how did you get into? Enough about me. How about you?
Oh, thank you for
How do
turning
you
it over to
start
me.
How do you start a motorcycle podcast? And
You know, it was funny the other. Never, I hadn't thought about it thoroughly. Return of the Cafe Racers. They're going to be doing an article, and I had to fill out that same question last night. So, basically, Craig Rodsmith, we got to be great friends. I watched him struggle. Went through the day-to-day stuff with him, seeing the genius freaking work that he was doing. We
Yeah.
talked him into doing videos, which he didn't want to do. So I was there every day. We shot videos every day. Fucking pumped him out. Had some fun.
His shit is so funny, man. He
Wait
is
till you
a
see.
riot.
We got some good shit coming up.
Nice, dude.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
love that guy.
So we had fun. You know what? I met him. I went to shows, made some friends. I just like the culture. I like
Yeah.
the hard-working, passionate, just balls out. Never say die. You could be fucking poor as hell and borrow, cheat, steal. Sleep in your van, go to a motorcycle show, and there's something about it that I admire it. I think it's fantastic. So
Sweet.
yeah, I just want to know people's
That's
stories.
awesome.
Yeah,
Cool,
so
man. I appreciate it.
fun. Yeah. Well, we're gonna bump this up. Do me a favor, when we get off here, if you'd send me a couple photos of yourself with some bikes or cars or something to help represent the podcast too.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, hey, go give Evan a follow at Speakeasy and go to the whiskey company and give them a follow. And brother, thank you very, very much for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
dude. Likewise, man. Rock on. I appreciate what you're doing.
I'll see you in the spring for the open house.
Yeah, man. For sure.
All right. Take care, buddy.